Welcome everyone to the Mastermind Book Club. Tonight we're reviewing and summarizing an audio based on a educational program provided by Michael Saylor. What's the name of this 5-hour audio? Its name is Bitcoin for Everybody, and it is a pre-audio to the 12-hour Bitcoin program that's available by Michael Saylor at saylor.org for free if you're interested in doing the full program. I'm going to be doing the program, and I know that we've spoken in this mastermind group, and most people are interested in doing the program because they're interested in finding out how Bitcoin is going to change everybody's lives. Now, in order to find out what the best and most opportunistic thing that we each learn from this audiobook or audio sessions, I'd like to introduce Taiwana, who's going to give us her first summary of this audiobook. Tai, take it away.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Hope everybody's well. What I got from this Bitcoin book, it teaches about money first. He goes through like a rundown of what currency is all about, what credit is all about, and how to use the money and what happened and why the monetary, like everything monetary, he feels is going towards Bitcoin. And that soon it's going to be like a Bitcoin world, and monetary, like physical money is going to be like excluded. I think that's pretty good too, because the way he's speaking is like it's good to know and to get into now instead of waiting until everybody else is like, oh, now, because when the crowd comes, it'll be too late and you won't really make no money. So that was good, and I'm still going to go over it again. But thank you so much, guys, and I give it on to you guys. All
Tai,
right.
that's beautifully
Bye.
said. The earlier you get in, the better advantage you have over everybody else who's coming in later. And there's no better way to get in than now. Mr. Charles Comer.
Hey, good evening, everybody. I'm gonna just jump right in on piggyback on what Tawana said. There's a statement that when there's fear in the market, you buy, 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 and when there's comfort and complacency, you sell, sell, sell. Uh, Pretty much, I was just going to ask the question from the book: will Bitcoin replace the dollar? And from what the book offered, Bitcoin is a new paradigm shift of electronic money that is distributed through a ledger and a blockchain. And right now, it's only going to be 21 million of these coins produced by 2140. And basically, when it's finished minting, that'll be all that's minted. The other fiat currencies, such as gold and like the dollar, are our current sources, but we all know that the dollar is losing value, and gold is just too heavy and too expensive to carry around. So the drawbacks to the dollar versus Bitcoin is people are not aware of it, but they are becoming more aware because of sporting events, logos, advertising, and people are starting to be more and more aware of Bitcoin. So will the Bitcoin replace the dollar? According to the book, it says yes, but in my opinion, I don't know, because there are some other currencies that different governments are working with, because Bitcoin is decentralized. It has no one who's particularly in control. There are many different computer operators that perform the performance on the ledger and receive Bitcoin for their trouble. It's just a new paradigm shift, and like with anything new, people are scared. But I believe, just like we didn't have what is that? We had 8 tracks, and now we have uh, you have digital music.
Come
now.
in.
So yes, I'm gonna come in. So that's it. That's all I would like to
Oh,
say. I'm
Thank you,
here. I'm
Charles.
in.
Charles, it definitely is a paradigm shift, and I appreciate that. And there's a lot to say, and I can tell by how you just summarized that you have much more to say. But I appreciate that you're keeping it to a minimum so that people get interest in
Yes, yes,
listening to these
because
types of
I'm
audios.
because if you
Yeah.
watch the basketball games, the current playoffs, you see Coinbase is on the floor on
Yes.
the uniforms.
Everywhere.
So it is becoming more and more popular, and people are inquisitive. And pretty soon, uh, I believe, even though one drawback is that it it's not a fast process. It's not instantaneously like buying gas or going to the ATM machine because it double and triple checks the process for the big for the Bitcoin process. You need a key and so forth. But I'm not going to take any more time.
Got it, Charles. It's a lot. It's a lot. Thank you, Charles. Reggie,
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Reggie
Good
Hillier.
evening, everyone.
Yes.
So nothing unique about money. Bitcoin's just another form, and it's just a digital form. And it's not like we're not already currently using digital money, because as much as we do use dollars, which are physical, could be physical, most of the money that we transact is digital. So, when you talk about bank balances and that sort of thing and using credit cards, that sort of thing, all of this stuff is essentially electronic transfer of money. And so it's not like we're not shifting away from that, because that's already pretty much what we are. It's just we're switching into a paradigm, which is a different form of digital money that has a lot of checks and balances that ultimately what we've seen, or what it seems to be the case at this point, is that Bitcoin seems to solve for a lot of the things that other forms of money didn't. Seems to be very protected. Seems to be hard to break into. Seems to be really hard to really sort of like tamper with in the ways that other money has been. And so it seems that it may have a probably like strong probability of being the way of the future. Currently, we're still in the interim or the early stages of it. And so those who get in now still have an opportunity because of its volatility to make some gains off of it, as well as to go down pretty precipitously. But the thing is that you still have a chance, as I say, to get in. You can gain from the fact that you're one of the early adopters of this. Not so early, but we're still in the infancy of the money, because it's only 12 or so years in inception. And by the time we're about 24, 25 years out, 99% of all Bitcoin will have been mined. So the last 100 or so years is the last 1% of Bitcoin being mined, which is pretty significant. So the first 24 years or 25 years is a fast sprint to getting most of the Bitcoin out. So this is an opportunity where you'll see a lot of different companies and people trying to get in there and just at least grab a hold of some Bitcoin, some being miners and so on and so forth, which is not as much a thing that an early person that's like very novice in this space might want to get into, because it requires a sort of understanding and a lot of firepower, if you will, to mine the coins. But maybe you can mine some other coins and convert it to Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is pretty strong currency option, it seems. And to the point of slowness, it's not as slow as we say, because even with money takes multiple days to settle, typically 2, 3, 4 days. I mean, you may do the transaction now, but the settlement doesn't happen before a couple or so days. Usually settlement is 2, 3 days at least out, depending on what you're settling. So Bitcoin actually settles a lot faster, even with the multiple confirmations that happen. It's still settling in a matter of maybe minutes to hours, maybe hours at worst. So that's minutes, hours to versus days. So we'll see how Bitcoin evolves, and it certainly has an opportunity to be a staple in our economy and in our money. And we'll see what happens with the dollar as well. And one question: have you bought Bitcoin so far to this point?
Beautiful question. Very important question that you asked there, Reggie. Thank you. Thank you for that summary. Now, I just want to add to what Reggie, Charles, Ty just said, because Bitcoin is here to stay. At the
Gina might
beginning,
be
people
ready.
were talking about it negatively. It's a horrible thing. It's it's a fake monetary system. What is Bitcoin? How did it start? There's a lot to be answered in those questions, and I want to keep it simple. Bitcoin versus cash. Cash you can have in your hand. Bitcoin you don't necessarily have it in your hand unless it's on a mobile phone or something like that, and probably eventually into a watch or some sort of chip that you can just swipe and scan, and boom, you do your purchases. However, is it a business? Well, normal businesses, like in stocks, require certain accountability to be done. If there's a loss, if there's an investment, if there's marketing, and so on and so on. In Bitcoin, it's somewhat of a business that only requires you and me to invest in it. That's it. Now, Bitcoin versus cash. Cash alone was not satisfactory for everyone. That credit cards needed to be invented. However, in order for credit cards to succeed, there were two specific states that developed the credit card, I guess, hiatus or credit card increase in interest rates and so on. Which are those two states? Delaware and South Dakota, I believe it's the other state. Those two states are the culprits for making credit cards very expensive, although you can jump in and you can do it economically. In the end, it can bite you. Now, Bitcoin is transparent. There's a ledger that you can trace. If you want to know who did what, there's transactions. And as Charles said, you can track, and you have in order for you to do a transaction in Bitcoin, like sending money and so on, there needs to be a verification process, and obviously the more verification, the more secure it is. 3 times is good, but 6, 9, 12 is even better, and so on. Blockchain, distributed ledger, and cryptography is explained within this audio. Maybe not perfectly, but it's given a huge introduction. Bitcoin and blockchain's future, the potential use and value. Bitcoin is limited in quantity, it's non-inflationary. However, if you own it and I own it and we decide to dump it, sell it, or get rid of it, just exactly as what's going on right now, it can get devalued very quickly. However, somebody else will go in there and buy it, because if it's limited in quantity, then it will be priceless in the sense of limited availability. Is Bitcoin a bubble? It was in the beginning. But how about technology? Is it behind it? Yes, it is. Now, there's so much more, just as Charles was saying, that we can go over this book, but I just wanted to let you know that these are the two things that you should look into when you are talking about Bitcoin. Reggie hit the first question, but I want to give you two others. One is look into what wallets are, how to use a soft wallet, a hard wallet. Very, very important. And then two, make certain that you keep your password secure for Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, not on a computer, not on a photo that is connected to the computer, but in a non-connected format. Maybe you'll purchase a phone that you can keep pictures in, or something like that, that'll keep all your addresses and so on. But you should also keep it on paper as well, so that you have backups. And there are other suggestions within this program. Now we can go on and on and on, and I know that Charles wanted to say something else, and I wanted to see if he still wanted to go and say one more thing. Go ahead, Charles. Are you still there?
I just was going to say that pretty much it reminds me of having your own postal box, the blockchain and the ledger, where you can receive general mail, but you need your own private key to access it. And so that key could be in a code, or it can actually be in a digital key that they have out, which is really really interesting. But if you lose that key, then you lose your Bitcoin forever. And that's one of the other drawbacks, is people have lost their keys, and they've lost, thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars worth of Bitcoin that will never be recovered. But that's just one of the drawbacks. But there are many upsides to Bitcoin. Like I said, it's decentralized, whereas no one government controls Bitcoin. So there's no manipulation, and you can like get it off of inflation. We can kind of like steady our economy if we move to something like this, because it's not it can't be manipulated.
Correct, correct. It can't be manipulated. And Charles, you just reminded me that if you were serious about being anonymous as close as being anonymous with Bitcoin or purchasing crypto, there are possibilities of doing that. Just by having an email address, you can be able to go anonymous. And that's wild. People have asked about going anonymous, but also just be worried that you are prone to attacks, especially at exchanges. I don't know about wallets yet, but especially at exchanges, you're prone to attack. And then certain places will ask you for your checking routing number and account number, and those are questionable. I mean, I use Cash App regularly, and I know that they ask for your checking account number, and I'm a little bit worried about that, but I'm going to be making some changes, and I'm going to make certain I take more security into account with that. So this is it for our
David?
review today. I want to thank every one of the
Gina
members.
is saying something, David.
Gina, go
Yeah.
ahead.
Yeah, David, I'm stationary now. I just wanted to point out a little bit that I did enjoy the book. I did get through a couple of them as well. And I wanted to say that I still don't understand cryptocurrency. And I feel the need to go and, listen in and look at some of the information that's provided there on Michael Saylor, the one that you mentioned there a while ago. But I guess in the end, the book is saying buy some crypto, understand it, and go and buy some Bitcoin.
All
That's it.
the Gina, you have a very important point there. A lot of people don't understand crypto in general, Bitcoin, what it is and how it works. And the reality is, until you try it, you're not going to know what you're missing. Especially now that high school students, recent college grads, and even younger than high school students are going into Bitcoin. Guess what? In the next 5 to 10 years, crypto is going to be the way of moving money around the world. Why? Because it's least trackable. If you are careful, you can have it in a way that is non-trackable. But I don't know if that's for you or for who, but the reality is that you need to get your hands wet, your feet wet in buying a little bit of crypto, moving it around in your wallets or creating a wallet and seeing how it works. You don't have to invest millions, invest $100 and see where it takes you. And just remember that as much as you want to make money, you could lose money. Right now, all crypto is down. All crypto is down, but eventually it's going to go back up. If I showed you the chart on how many times Bitcoin has crashed, I'd say it's crashed at least 13 times since its inception. So just be aware. That's a normal process of a non-inflationary, deflationary currency that has been created for the people. However, the people have sold it off recently, and guess who's coming in now? All the hedge funds and all the whales. They're going to have access to it. You want to know more about this? You're going to have to listen to the audiobook and do Michael Saylor's program so that you can become more aware of how to do this. But in the meantime, Gina and everyone else, open an account. Put $100 in and play around with it. Even if you lose it, but at least you learn what it is. I mean,
Yeah.
we lose money on a daily basis. Why not utilize it on something where you're going to have some knowledge that's going to be for a lifetime? Because you do need to constantly educate yourself on Bitcoin. That
Yeah.
is something that's just a reality. So this is the Mastermind Book Club signing off. I want to thank you all because this is a very, very powerful, informative 5-hour audio. And we're going to look into the 12-hour program and see if it's an video or audio program because I'm not aware how it works. But we'll take a look and see what happens by next week. Take care. Until next week, we'll review another empowering audio or book.
Bye.
Bye. Let's see.
All right, baby. All right, everybody.
Oh, kisses. Great.